I feel a tremendous amount of responsibility to the people that I live around. It's just part of being a good community member, but also when you're a representative of the state, it's incumbent upon you to have that responsibility. The prosecutor holds all of the power in the criminal justice system. The definition of prosecutor is the person who represents the state when someone else is accused of a crime, and our job is twofold. One is to seek accountability from that person, but also to make sure that justice is done. Of course, there's no definition that's ever given us about what justice is. It's just our own definition of justice. There are so many examples just in everyday criminal justice practice where prosecutors are wielding this great amount of power without any oversight, and that's really where the damage is done, and people just never get to see it. They don't understand it. America has developed this problem in mass incarceration. It's an epidemic, certainly the biggest civil rights crisis of our time because of who it affects: poor people, sick people, and particularly people of color. In the late 80s, early 90s, people started to fear kids that we defined as super predators, and so all of a sudden we started making all these laws that made it much more easy for kids to go to jail.
Starting back to classes tomorrow, so CJ major. Yeah, look,
I was inspired to start working with young people in the justice system. And if you just took the opportunity to sit down with them and talk to them, you'd realize that they weren't criminals. They were just people that need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of direction. They don't need the criminal justice system. It's this line that we cross when we become professionals, where all of a sudden mistakes are no longer innocent because they're committed by people that don't look like us, that don't come from where we come from. Being raised by white conservative parents and living in a pretty white conservative neighborhood was difficult. While it was happening, it was informing me of things that I would do as a prosecutor later on in life without even knowing. And the perspective that I brought in was half my life being identified as a person of color, my other half of my life being the son of white Catholic parents. There are 2,300 prosecutors' offices around the country. 95% of the elected prosecutors in those offices are white. 86% of them are white men. And so right there you have the opportunity for disconnect. I left my job at the DA's office, start an organization to train prosecutors and teach them what are alternatives to incarceration in your community. It's about taking the people that are in the system and equipping them with the tools and the information to help resolve problems and not layer problems on top of people. The power of opportunity as opposed to the wrath of the criminal justice system. We need thousands of prosecutors to recognize that. There's a movement towards demanding more of your elected prosecutors. A lot of people spend all of their time and their effort focusing on Trump and Clinton, but the impact that a district attorney makes, especially in communities like the one that we're in now, are affecting those people daily. In an ideal world, 10 years from now, the justice system would look something a lot more cooperative and solution-based and a lot less adversarial. The outcomes would be much greater than just doing the same thing that we've been doing for the last 350 years and coming up with the same result every single time.